Hello and welcome. Well, today I've been picking up windfall apples from the garden. We've had quite a few high winds this past couple of days. We've had lovely sunshine and we've had pouring rain. We've had quite a lot, but it's all been lovely actually. I even got caught out in the rain today with the dogs. But it wasn't cold, it was a warm rain, and yes, we were quite wet, but you know, didn't do us any harm. So I've picked up the windfalls, and it's that time to make apple cider vinegar, and I haven't done this for about 3 years, so I had to refer back to my recipe. And because I've used the windfalls, I cut out the bruises, but you can keep the core and the peel on the apples once they've been washed and cleaned to make sure there's nothing unpleasant on it. I of course made sure there were no bugs inside, so I used big chunks of apple. But if you buy apples and you use them for making apple pie, for instance, keep the cores and the peel, because you can make apple cider vinegar from those. What you will need, which I still haven't got, is a weight to hold it under the water. I've used a lid of a jar that I actually keep my salt in the jar, but I've sterilised the lid along with the jar itself to hold those apples underneath the water, and I'm going to have to keep checking it because I might need extra weight to hold it down. I know some people sterilise a nice flat pebble because that can work, but you can buy glass weights on Amazon, which is really what I should be doing. You can get those that slip in under the kilner jar, or you can get two pieces that go in separately and then they kind of puzzle together to hold the apples down, because they can become buoyant when you add the water. So I basically filled the jar 3/4 with apples. I added a tablespoon of, it was actually caster sugar. The recipe requires organic cane sugar. I didn't have it, I've used what I have. So it was caster sugar. A tablespoon in 250 ml of boiled water so it would dissolve. Pop that in, and then another litre of water on top. Now, with a bigger jar, I could have had the 1.5 litres, which is what it would ask for, rather than 1.25 litres. So I will produce less apple cider vinegar from this as a result, but it's not a big deal. So yes, it's very simple to do, and then you put it in a dark cupboard at room temperature, covered it with muslin as well, so the air can circulate to help that fermentation. And you leave it for about 3 weeks, but stirring it on a daily basis to make sure that, number one, it's still under the water, that the sugars can actually move around the apples and allow the bacteria to ferment the apple cider vinegar. Once that's done, then you can drain it into another container, also sterilised. I sterilised mine in the oven. Basically, you can put them in a saucepan and boil them, but I don't really have a saucepan big enough. I'm just thinking, oh, I might have, but not for that one. Or you can put them in a dishwasher on a good, not on an economy temperature, on a higher temperature to sterilise it. So after 3 weeks, you strain it through a sieve and through a muslin cloth, put it into another sterilised container, and then you store it again for, what was it? Let's see, I can't remember. Another 3 weeks? 3 to 4 weeks. And again, you can stir it, but then test it. See how acidic it is, and see if it's at a level that you like. And then you put it into sterilised bottles and store it, and it should last forever. It's probably not forever, but it should last a long time. I tend to bottle some of mine into smaller bottles, and then again sterilised, and once I've opened one, I store it in the fridge, and that's just because I'm not confident in my fermentation skills, because I do this one so rarely, so I just play it safe. But I do tend to keep the bulk of it in a kilner jar, sealed in my store cupboard, and I then top up fresh jars when I need it, just to make sure once it's sealed and it's secure and it's in a sterilised jar, it should be absolutely fine. So that's what I do. Now, why would I do this? Well, apple cider vinegar not only is fabulous in our meals, it also has some health benefits. Now, some of which has now been tested on humans. So it's not just animal testing, it's not just old wives' tales, and I'm not dismissing old wives' tales for 1 minute. A lot of truth comes from the practices of the past, and people don't practice these things for no good reason. They practice these things because they work. We might not be able to prove it, it may not have been proven, it may not be worth somebody spending money to prove it, but I wouldn't dismiss these practices that people have done over centuries because there's value in it. But nonetheless, whilst I was doing my studies, we were advised that you could utilise apple cider vinegar to help with digestion, and basically taking a little bit before a meal. Now, when you take it before a meal, you take it in water, not neat, because it has acetic acid in it, and you could damage the enamel on your teeth. So always in water. Some people suggest tomato juice could be quite nice. It depends what you're trying to do, and if you need to be careful with sugars, just go for the water. So it can aid digestion, and it has prebiotic and probiotic effects. So it has the probiotics, as in the bacteria in there, but the prebiotic, so it actually feeds the bacteria in your gut as well. And so it does seem to help in that area. It helps stimulate the digestion through stimulating the enzymes to be released that digest the foods, and it can help cleanse. There's some indication that it could help with detoxing as well. I haven't found anything on that per se. I forgot to double check that one. So, but a little bit of a detox. So what else have we got? It has antimicrobial abilities, which is also how it can help cleanse the gut. So it can help us fight any infection or invasion we might have. So that's quite useful. It also can suppress the appetite. And I mentioned apple cider vinegar, I believe, earlier in the year when I spoke about some of the foods that can help with weight loss. And any vinegar can actually help here. And it seems that it helps our body's metabolism. It helps us to control our insulin sensitivity. And there's some work as well against the increase of fat cells. It can work against that and help the body to slow that down. So it can help us slow down our increase in fat cells, as well as help us lose weight. And it also appears that it helps us lose visceral fat, that fat that we find inside the body around the organs, which tends to be the more dangerous fat depending on how much we have. And if we've got high levels, it can help us reduce that. And if you want to reduce your waste, apple cider vinegar on a daily basis could help you reduce your waste because it's reducing the visceral fat inside your body. So there's been a number of studies, but one in particular was interesting, where they took 3 groups. This was in Japan. Their obese level is a BMI of 25 or above. That isn't here. Ours is 30 and above. So, but they tend to have a slimmer population. But they took people who were at a BMI of about 25 or above, and they had one group having a low dose of apple cider vinegar every day, one at a higher dose, and the third group with no apple cider vinegar at all. And they found after the study finished that the 2 that had the vinegar lost weight. The group that didn't have it didn't lose weight. In fact, some of them put weight on. But between the 2 groups that did lose weight, the ones on a higher dose lost almost double that of those on the lower dose. So it was a very clear indication that it seems to assist in controlling weight. Well, that's lovely to hear, that these studies actually support that belief. I've also read that it may be able to help us with our cholesterol levels. It can help bring down blood pressure, and that's possibly because of the weight control as well, and the assistance there. So there's a lot it can be supportive of our digestion, our weight control, our insulin sensitivity, our cholesterol, and some people use it on their hair, some people use it as a toner on the skin, again diluted. I've not tried that, but there are various things that people use vinegars for, and again, as I say, they're ancient, all vinegars, and all vinegars can help with this insulin sensitivity and weight loss situation, which is great. So how would you use apple cider vinegar? Well, I've already mentioned that some people use it for hair and skin, but generally it's great in a dressing, and this is the most obvious way to use it, just with extra virgin olive oil, and you can add in mustard, or you could add in some soy sauce, you could add in some tahini, you could add in herbs, garlic, you can add all sorts of things to change up your dressing. And I like to keep a jar ready-made in the fridge, so it's easy. I can come home, shake it, got my salad ready, drizzle it over, and I'm getting some apple cider vinegar. I also take it in water. I haven't actually for the last few weeks, I stopped again, but I like to take it in my pint of water in the morning, so I have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in my water in the morning. But you could add it to, some people add it to baking, saute. It's anything that needs a little bit, excuse me, Molly, what you doing? What you doing? I've got a pumpkin in the fruit bowl. She's sniffing the pumpkin. Did you like it, darling? You did. And of course you can do, I like in the summer to do a sort of cucumber pickle where I add vinegar to slices of cucumber. So yes, people use it in their roasts. I haven't done that, I'm not quite sure how I would, but you know, there's all sorts of ways to use it. But I think for me, a dressing is the easiest. If I make a coleslaw, it goes in there as part of the dressing. My winter slaw, where I use all sorts of red cabbages and winter veg. Anytime I need lemon and I haven't got lemon, I'll add apple cider vinegar. It works as well. It gives that sort of sharpness. So yeah, it's easy to make. Also, if you do buy it, it is readily available in organic. There are organic ones on the market. I would recommend buying organic because apples can be quite a highly sprayed crop. Mine have never been sprayed since we've been here for sure. So I know mine are quite free of that. But yes, look out for organic apple cider vinegar. You may find some with what they call the mother, and that is part of which it ferments it, and you can actually use that, or you can put it on your compost if you don't want to. If you make your own and it appears on the top of your, it's a bit like a froth, I suppose, for what, I don't know whether I've got any, but you can just strain it off, but there's no problem with it. And actually when you buy it, if you buy it from the shops with the mother, that is deemed to be better. Again, I've not looked at science on that. So there you go, apple cider vinegar. It can help us as we get older, to help control us with our management of weight and cholesterol, etc. So hope it's been of use, and I hope you will give it a go. Make some little apple cider vinegar, and it's quite nice to bottle it for Christmas and hand homemade things to friends. So yes, I hope to see you soon. If you like this video, please share it with people who might benefit, and please like and subscribe if you'd like to. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye.